Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Hey, man, how are you?
Sir?
Finally, I'm almost getting used to this Zoom call stuff because usually it doesn't work for me for some reason, but it's working. I'm here. I did it.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you're here. Have you been doing these a lot since quarantine and stuff? The pandemic started.
A whole year's, boy. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I've been doing it. I like it. I like being under house arrest. You know.
I feel like it's you go through.
It makes life so much easier. It makes life so much easier. You know, it's like being in jail. It's just like jail. You wake up, you go, oh, okay, what's today? Who cares? What does it matter?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Are you counting the days gone by hanging guitars on the wall? Because I like all the different.
No, they're actually all for sale.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, everything I own is for sale. You know. Yeah, I'm serious. You give me the right offer, it's yours. You know.
Holy shit, man! All right, we'll turn this whole show into an auction. Let's do it.
I'm not attached to anything, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, that's a great feeling. So then the pandemic just suits you, right? Like I feel like you were probably one of I fell into it kind of naturally too.
Well, the pandemic was well. By the way, you know, I did a movie with Nick Cage about a pandemic.
Yes.
Months before the actual pandemic hit, and then the pandemic hit a year ago on Passover. Come on. You know, it's like God's trying to tell us something. Okay.
Yeah.
Passover, pandemic, the connection. and I talked to my Jewish friends, not a clue to them. No, seriously. To them, Passover's a holiday. You eat whatever, shmata bread or whatever. And
that is the correct pronunciation.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, you know, did you get your shot? Yeah. Passover, don't you get it? See, the angel of death. And if you got the right mark on your door, the angel of death keeps going. And here we are a year later.
Yeah. Is that the whole premise of the movie you did with Nick Cage? Because I feel like I missed out on a lot.
Almost. No, the premise I did with Nick Cage was a remake of a horror movie. And what happens, a meteorite comes from outer space loaded with this virus. Boom, it hits, and then it takes out Nick's family, you know, and his livestock. He's got some kind of animal, sheep or some kind of yak or
llamas.
Llamas or something. And,
alpacas, the ones that are hypoallergenic.
Alpacas, yeah. And
Yes.
I didn't see the movie.
You didn't have to because you wound up living it.
No, I can't take horror movies.
Oh, really? You know? Even if you're in them?
No, especially if I'm in them. You know,
Wow.
No, I watch. Of course, like every other actor, I watch my performance. You know, that was pretty good. Yeah. I like with me, you know, because my age, I do the Marlon Brando technique of acting. You know, do you know what that is?
No, what is that?
You get a microphone stuck in your ear, and people feed lines off camera to you, you know. And so Brando did it with movies. Nicholson started doing it. And, I'm doing it for sure.
That's incredible.
I heard. Yeah, you don't have to remember shit. You just sit there and you're acting because you have to, ponder and you have to think and look like you're really. And what you're doing, you're trying to think. Okay, what did they just say? Okay, okay, I got it. Okay, and then you act, and then you deliver your lines like you just thought of them. Or you just heard them.
Have you ever had somebody accidentally like ordering lunch in your ear while you're trying to do a scene and you're just like, yes, 2 large fries? Is that not the line?
No, seriously, I'm not that great. That was,
that's awesome, dude. So wait, you were talking about the house arrest thing. Where you just had a run-in with getting arrested for some paraphernalia or something, right?
Well, that was 2003, but it feels like yesterday. Yeah.
Right?
I went to jail, man. They promised me house arrest, and I was kind of smiling at that. Yeah, okay, because it was. See, I was innocent. That's the weirdest thing when you go to court when you're innocent. Like everybody knew I was innocent. The judge knew. Right. Everybody knew. But I made an agreement. I signed an agreement. And but I got it. So when I got up on the stand, they started asking me these questions, and when they got to the part where they said, "You're the sole owner of and I said, "No." and it stopped everything. Everything just went to the top, and then the judge says, "Can I talk to you?" The prosecutor, can we have a little sidebar here? And my lawyer whispered in my ear, "You got to say yes." That's the agreement. But
fuck.
I took an oath, and so I'm telling them the truth,
Right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've been in
crazy.
I was in a weird situation where I went, like I had a bunch of bogus traffic like tickets or whatever. I got pulled over for speeding or whatever it was, but they gave me like 2 different tickets because they didn't want to give me the full speeding ticket, right? So I had to go to the prosecutor and get one waived. I'm not even kidding. I go into the prosecutor's office. He's like, "All right, we're just gonna get rid of this one and tell them that you ran a stop sign for this one." I go, "Okay, great." I go out to talk to the judge, and I'm like, "Yeah, blah blah blah," and I ran a stop sign. And she's looking at the ticket, and then she looks at the officer on the bench next to her, and she goes, "Is there a stop sign between those 2 roads over there?" And he goes, "No." And I was just like, "What the fuck just happened?" So now it looks like I'm fucking, but it says it on the ticket. So then I just stood there, and she goes, "Well, what actually happened?" And I go, "I don't know, man. I guess the 2 officers wrote the ticket for that. You're cops. I don't know. You tell me what fucking happened." Like I couldn't. And then I just started literally telling the truth. And the prosecutor's like, he's in the other room. So I'm pointing to a door that, for all anybody else knows, there's nobody in there. And I'm just like, "Well, he said." And she's like, No, he's not here. You're here. I'm like, "But if you open that fucking door," like he's right on the other side. So it was just the weirdest shit, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, no. Well, that's what happened. With me. And so when I never took the case serious because I was not guilty. And not only that, but they're bombs. They're not dangerous. They're not guns. They're not drugs. They're glass pipes. And so I figured, what? They're talking about jail time for pipes. What's going on? And then when they sent me, which was, by the way, 9/11.
Oh wow!
Jesus Christ!
9/11. And then they put the trial, the sentencing part in a large courtroom because they were expecting a big demonstration.
Right.
One guy showed up with a sign saying "Free marijuana." Now, was he really marijuana, or was he trying to make us? I know, but one guy,
One
and,
guy.
and and he never even made it into the courtroom with the sign. So we
Oh,
got an empty courtroom, and me, and
yeah.
and so my lawyer did his thing, and the they did their thing, and then the judge says, "Well, I really want to hear from Mr. Chong." And the and the judge's name is Schwartz, by the way. Schwab.
Schwab.
Schwab. And so I get up there, and I had written out a few things because the night before I thought, oh man, I could be going to jail. This is serious. And so I wrote a big confession. Yeah, I did it. I'm sorry, And I showed it to my lawyer. My lawyer said, no. He took it, bundled it up, threw it in the garbage. No, that's not.
Yeah.
You don't say that. And so when he wanted, did I have anything to say? And so I went up there and I told him, I said, I'm very sorry for what I committed, but I think I should, be allowed to, stay out, out of jail, and because I've been I've been teaching kids. It's true, salsa,
Oh, that's
That's an
fascinating,
interesting.
man.
And
Yeah.
then the judge looked up when I said, I've been teaching kids salsa. And the judge he gave me that,
Like,
the
yeah.
and I don't think he let me finish telling the whole thing, because I was,
Right.
Because here's my thought. It wasn't salsa that I was really referring to. I was referring to tango. Now, tango is a phenomenal dance. It's phenomenal. It's for old guys that can't get a hard on. It is.
What a great way to sell it.
It really is. It really is, because what it is, it's a dance of seduction. Now, the only trick is you got to know what you're doing.
Right.
You just can't get up there and start humping a chick. You got to know the steps and everything. But one of the rules of tango is that it's so polite. The people sit by themselves on one side of the dance floor, and the guys, they don't sit. The guys prowl. They walk around.
Okay.
And in between numbers, or before the music starts, the guys will walk over to the girls, and they'll make eye contact with whoever they want to dance with. Now, if the girl wants to dance with the guy, she will respond. She will say yes with her eyes. She'll say he'll invite her with her eyes, and she'll look and nod, and then she'll put or whatever and get up and go dance one dance with the guy. And then after the dance, he leads her back to the table, or if they're going to do it again, they dance again. Now, in between songs, you can talk, but the minute the music starts, there's no talking. There's just dancing. So it's not a social thing. It's a physical dance where you kind of play with your feet. The dance came from Africa, and it was kind of like a get together for the young kids and the girls, and that was like a mixer, and so that politeness really got me. And so I was teaching kids salsa because I didn't know how to dance tango, let alone teach it. And so I was teaching these Beyond the Bell, that's an organization that helps kids, poor kids especially, that don't have anywhere to go after the school. And so they hang out at school, and then you give them extra curricular activities like salsa. Like I was teaching them salsa, but I taught them the tango way, where I'd have the girls on one side, the guys on the other side. And so when the guys wanted to dance before the music, the guys would go over and make eye contact, or they would with kids they kind of, okay, I'm going to come and get you. I'll be here, that kind of thing. And
Right.
so I taught the kids that, beyond the bell, and the kids that I taught, they loved it. And that was years ago. And then I had some feedback, where girls and guys said, I learned how to dance salsa with you, and now I
Wow.
go out every week. It changes everybody's life, because
Wow.
salsa, especially salsa clubs, you'll see kind of like recently divorced ladies, women,
Mm-hmm.
they're there, wearing little short skirts, looking foxy as can be,
Uh-huh.
and it's the only time they get a chance to dance with their gardener, or with the pool man, because it's the Chicanos that know how to dance. Very few white guys, very few.
Yeah.
But a few.
I'm one of the few white guys.
And a few black guys, that know, they know that, because it's a club. Once you get in that club, man, you're never bored. You got something to do, and you got that contact between male and female, which a lot of divorced people don't have. And so,
right.
But what I've done, I'm too old to dance salsa anymore. It's a young man's dance. But tango is the answer for old guys, because you just have to learn how to walk. Walk, keep your balance, and stand straight. That's your whole thing. And so you're upright. And then you have to, and what you do, the guys lead the girls, with their little touch here and there. But it is so hard. It's the hardest thing I've done. Listen, seriously, I've been dealing with this well over 20 years.
Wow.
20 years. And I'm just getting to the point now where I can dance with my wife. Do you believe that?
Wow, 20 years before you have it down to the point where you can dance with her.
With my wife, because see, women, like a racehorse, once they get a good jockey, then they can win the race, because the jockey knows where to touch and how to communicate. Well, with women, they need like a really good tango dancer, guys. If you're a man, I told my sons this all the time. They don't listen, but I tell them this.
I'm listening. I'm taking notes.
Listen, you want to be the most popular guy, no matter how old you are. And I'm telling you the truth, man. Because in order to be like a good tangero, a good dancer, you have to be able to, first of all, to dance. Second of all, you got to look sharp. You got to be clean to the suit, the whatever it is. Even if it's blue jeans, they have to be. You have to know how to dance. If you don't know how to dance, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. Stop. If you're a good dancer, now you look like a movie actor. Remember, Robert Duvall?
Yes.
Yeah. He's in a little. I got on YouTube, the whole tango section. So check it out, man.
I will.
There's a short movie that Rob Duvall is in, and he's a tangero, but it's called Tango Tassin. Tango, he's a hitman. And I think it's in Spanish. I just watched it without the sound. But Robert Duvall, you know how he looks. He's got that Robert Duvall look. That white guy.
Could break your legs.
That kind of guy.
Yeah.
As a tango dancer, he grew his hair long. He's got it in a ponytail. He's got a beard. Man, he is very handsome guy as a tangero. And he can dance tango. There's no doubt about it. He's a good dancer. But
I feel like the way you've been describing tango and how romantic it is and how sexualizing it is, I feel like it explains so much about why we only learned to square dance when I was in high school. Because if tango is like the dance of love, square dancing is the dance of abstinence. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, why did we not learn this? And I'm like, oh my God, I totally understand now.
Oh yeah. Well, even
So wait,
even
you started out.
even the dress, even the way you dress, square dancing. That's the honestly clothes in the world, man. Oh my God! You couldn't
Like,
get any less. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
it's terrible.
Cowboy
Well, you
boots,
started out
cowboy
as a
boots.
musician, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you learn? So, so was that instrumental? No pun intended. And you're like dancing and stuff like that. Like you came and you started out as a musician, and then you did that for a while, and then I know there's a story about you, Barry Gordy, kind of buying, I guess, letting you out of your contract, or you wanted to be let out of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, is
yeah.
that?
No, I got fired.
You actually got?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he didn't fire you, and then you told him you weren't going to be fired, but you wanted to be let go.
No. What happened? What happened? I had a hit record. I wrote a song called "Don't Know About Me," and we had this hot R&B singer, Bobby Taylor, who is now passed away.
Oh, there you are in the yellow
yeah,
sweater.
Yeah. There we are. And Bobby's with the dark glasses. He was this phenomenal soul singer, and so we got signed with Motown. Motown saw us and signed us, but then as they do, it wasn't Barry Gordy, but producers in Motown, they took Bobby and they separated Bobby from the herd. They took him out of the herd,
Wow.
and they left us to be backing up other bands, like the musician,
Okay.
and it happened. We were backing up Chris Clark, and
Oh wow.
and in the meantime, I got Canadians in our group. We all got deported. Self-deportation, it's called. They found that we were working without papers in the States, and so the immigration come and said you have to get out of here. You have to live in Windsor, across the river, and so,
Right.
and so then I right away I said, well, I can get a green card, and Motown didn't know really what a green card was. Their lawyers did. And so the lawyers fixed it up for me to get a green card. But the problem was I had to do the interview right when we're in the middle of a gig with Chris Clark at Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And so I told I told the road manager. See, I was always used to being the boss, it was my club, it was my band. It wasn't the band leader per se. I organized it. It was all mine. I hired Bobby and all that. And so when I had a green card, I didn't think twice about it. I just told the guy that would usually be working for me. He's the road manager, and I told him, I said, I got this meeting, and so I took the bass player with me, Wes, because I wanted to get. He was Canadian too. I wanted to get him a green card too, so if we working in the States, we'd be legal. And so I took Wes, and then I got a message from Motown saying, the message was there was a ticket to go home, but none for me. and so I kind of got the hint, I said, because the road manager, Johnny Bristow, he told me, he says, if you leave, then don't bother coming back. You'll be fired. And
wow.
It's like an underling telling the boss you're fired. So I didn't even respond to it. I just give him a look. And so, but I had to go back. I couldn't stay in Detroit because I had a wife, but then girlfriend in a motel with our baby.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Waiting for me to come back.
Good Lord.
Got my green card. And so I really couldn't tell. Oh man, I had so much fun.
Wow.
With that baby. One time we're going on the road. And of course, my girlfriend, now wife, and the baby, they came with me. They're part of me.
Yeah, of course.
Oh wow! So same woman?
So yeah, it's a very whose baby is this? and everybody in the band was, except for a couple of Canadians, but everybody's black and the white baby. So yeah, it wasn't hard to figure out whose baby it was. and no one's answering him. And now that I think about it, we just looked out the window, looked around. But so I go back to the gig with Wes, and it was weird because I could feel it, and so
Yeah.
So I go to the bandstand. Wes gets on the stage and plugs in his bass. He's good to go.
Mhm.
I go there and they tell me, Johnny, the road manager, you're fired. I told you, you're fired. You're fired. So take your shit and get out of here.
Wow.
So I looked around at the band, and they all give me that. I don't know this guy. They all looked away. They all looked away, and these are the guys I personally picked to be in the band. It's a big deal. Motown is a big deal, and they just threw me. Well, I thank God they did. Because I would quit. But anyway, then Barry Gordy found out about it. So anyway, I take my amp, my guitar, and I go back to the motel, and my Shelby, she goes, "Oh, you're home early." I said I got fired, and she goes, "Oh, that's good. Come into bed."
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I looked at her, and she goes, yeah, that band sucked. So I think that was the moment. That was the moment I realized, I'm going to be with this woman the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the moment because she was
somebody that understanding. Absolutely.
She was half asleep, and then now we're in Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got wife and 2 kids in one apartment, and which I would usually go there, and a girlfriend and a baby, and so we go to a movie, a midnight movie. It cost like 50 cents. Saw a movie called I Love Alcoclis, and it's about Peter Sellers and and the hippies in the Venice Beach. And
it's a great movie.
I said, and Detroit is snowing and sleet, and in California, sunshine and beach. I said, let's go to California. Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm fired. I don't have a job. I got no reason to stay.
Right.
So Barry Gordy calls me the next day, and he said, "There's been a mistake, Tom. Of course you're not fired." And that's when I told Barry, I said, "No, Barry, I think I'm going to stay fired." I said, I want to become a Barry Gordy. I don't want to work for one. And
I love that.
And Barry Gordy says, I can respect that. So he gave me a nice severance pay, enough to get me started in California and to become exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a songwriter, and eventually I did. Eventually, I kept, Then I met Cheech and all that, so it all worked out really well. Yeah,
that's incredible, man. That really is. That's an incredible story. And you went out to LA and then met Cheech, and then you started doing road gigs and stand up and stuff.
Oh no! It wasn't that easy. I wish it was. No. I went out, and the first thing I got was a note from my brother saying, "You got to come back to Vancouver because we're not, but the clubs need you,
right?
Especially if you don't have a gig, we need you back home." We had 2 nightclubs then, and so I went home with my girlfriend. And because then she was more like my wife, we had, she was, like I said, she said, "Come to bed." So so I went back, and then I never had a gig. I wasn't playing. I never had a band. I had 2 nightclubs, but both of them were, were the music and that. No, one of the clubs was a strip club. And so I started working at the strip club as working the lights,
Oh wow!
And I was a light man. And when I noticed that the strippers would come in, they look really young and beautiful when they'd come in their street clothes, But
Mhm.
when they put on their crap, they look like hookers, they look like
Yeah.
strippers,
Right.
nasty old strippers. So I thought, you know, I had seen the committee, and I saw all these improv groups and that, and that was really what I was interested in. And so I said, why don't we start using the girls, start an improvisational acting group, because we had a guy named Taps, a black guy that would tap down. He was the MC, and then we
Nice.
had a Genie, who was a singer, and there was a three-piece band, but we'd hide behind a curtain, and then I'd have the girls do skits instead of stripping. They went on stage, and the first this bit they did was called the Pajama Party. And the girls would come over to the stage, which was sort of like a room, or someone's apartment,
Mhm.
and they would come in and they would change from their street clothes into their pajamas, and that alone was worth the price of admission. Seeing
Yeah.
them do that, when you
Yeah.
see a girl take off a boa or some kind of costume, it's nothing. But when you see a
Right.
girl undo her blouse, and and her shirt, and
Yeah.
then put on, oh, it's too sexy. So,
Yeah.
and then I had Taps come over as one of the, they were having a party after the gig, and
Mhm.
and so the girl said, "Oh, Tap, why do they call you Taps?" And oh, I'm a tap dancer. Oh, well, show us what you can do. And so
Right.
they had a little bit. Taps gets out there and he does his bit, and he's so good
Yeah.
that he gets an encore. The audience loves him. First of all, they're
Wow.
starved for some kind of and
Yeah.
as soon as Taps is on, and the audience wakes up, oh yeah, all right, and they give him an encore. They want to see more. And so
Right.
Taps quit that night. he,
Wow.
he said, "Man, I'm too old to be doing this shit, man. Come on." The reason he became an MC was that he was too old to be tap dancing. So so
Amazing.
so Taps quit, and so then I had this real funny doorman.
Mhm.
You look at him and you laugh because he had that face, English,
Yeah.
and his name was Dave. So I said, "Hey, Dave, I need an MC. Do you want the job?" And Dave says, "I'll do it if you do it." And it was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, nice.
And so next thing you know, I'm on the stage with Dave, and we became partners like Cheech and I. And then we hired
Wow.
Cheech. We hired Cheech later as a straight man, and then the then we changed the crowd from strippers, from like a handful of bikers that would throw money at everybody,
Mhm.
to a theater crowd that would count their change, and
Wow.
Wow.
sip wine, but yet take up all the seats, And
Yeah.
so my brother fired us. He said, we got to go back to the strippers. And so then Cheech, because Cheech and I were the only ones that really loved doing what we were doing. Dave
Right.
and all the rest, they couldn't care less. But Cheech, he'd always wanted to be in show business, and now this was his chance. And so
Yeah.
Cheech and I stayed together, and we formed a band first. Because I'm a musician, and
Right.
he's a singer, and
Yeah.
but we decided to do a little comedy, and that comedy went for 45 minutes,
Wow.
and
Wow.
we never played a note, and that was the birth of Cheech and Chong.
That's incredible, dude. And then,
Wow.
so how long did you guys stay on the road before you started doing movies? Was it like a long time doing the clubs and stuff before you transitioned, or?
Oh yeah, 7 years at least. At
Wow.
least. Let's see. We did our Dave's Not Here recording in 71,
Right.
and we got the movie in 78. Yeah,
Wow.
so it was a good 7 years, and that was like, the first time we went out after we did, which was a first. It was a rehearsal. we taped the first bit we ever even attempted on a
Right.
little tape recorder, because that was part of the deal with Lou Adler. He said, "What do you need?" I said, "A couple of $1,000 and a tape recorder."
Right.
And we taped. We rehearsed Dave's Not Here, and the way we rehearsed, like we did like an improv club, Cheech
Right.
would put on his outfit, his costume, and went outside, and the door locked him outside, and was in the hot area. The sun it was the middle of summer or September, I guess. The sun was beating down. It was about 100 outside, and I'm in a nice air conditioned studio. And so when Cheech knocked on the door, I wasn't sure if the tape recorder was working, so I didn't answer it right away. And when he knocked, and I looked, because you get distracted then.
Yeah.
And so then I was staring at the tape recorder, and then he knocked again, and I saw the knee jump. And so I said, "Oh, it's working." So I said, "Who is it?" Now, I was supposed to open the door and let him in when he knocked, but instead, I wanted to test the mic. So I said, "Who is it?" And and it took Cheech a little bit by surprise, because
Right.
he was expecting me to open the door, and he goes, so he paused. And he goes, "It's me, man. I got the stuff. Let me in." And so then I paused. Then I
Right.
was looking at I was trying to look at if the tape thing was working right, and so I looked at the tape recorder, and it wasn't moving. So he knocked again, and boom, boom, boom. I saw the needle move. I said, and by now I could hear his discomfort in his voice, and so I said, "Who is it?" And that dumb stoner voice, and not Cheech. Now he's in the character. He goes, "It's me, man. Come on, I got the stuff. Come on, open up. I think the cops saw me." I'm laughing inside, man. I'm laughing. There is no way I'm going to open that door.
Holy shit.
In my mind, I said, "I'm going to keep this guy out there as long as I can." Because, oh, man, I was dying inside. And when he knocked again, and I said, "Who is it?"
Oh, my God.
Now he goes, "It's Dave, man. The only name you think of, Dave." And then I said, "Dave," and you could hear in his voice, he goes, yeah, Dave." And when I said Dave's not here, he blew it. He actually blew it. We couldn't use that recording because "Well, what are you doing, man?" And then he blew up character, and he said, "It's hot out here, man. I'm dying." And you know how, to this day, whenever I tell that story, because it's such a beautiful story, Cheech, first of all, doesn't want to hear that story anymore.
Done with it.
And I have to tell, and I have to embellish and everything else.
The college guy's here. He needs the keys.
I'm doing a podcast. Okay, and the keys are in my jacket pocket.
Hi.
Hey, guys,
Hi.
hold on.
Yeah, take your time. Take your
Sure,
time.
yeah.
This is very important. I got to get the car.
Yeah,
keys.
sure. No problem at all.
My car is being washed. And
Oh, nice.
I can't take any time out to do my goddamn podcast.
I feel you, dude.
All
It's
right.
terrible. I feel like this is a nice tour, though.
This is. We get to see the whole estate.
You have lovely ceilings.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
One of our viewers asked, "How old were you when you started smoking?"
17.
17.
Yeah, 17 years old. I remember every moment of it, man, because I was in a jazz club, and I can't play jazz, but that was another thing. You said, I'm a musician. I'm a kind of guy that can do things, and people will hire you to do things, but it's not really what I do.
I hear you. I know what you mean.
That's what was with me with music.
You just described every comedian.
Yeah, yeah. Because for years when I played guitar, I it was never my own guitar. I could afford a good guitar, and so when they would hire me, they would say, "Oh yeah, you can play my guitar." And because I was the kind of guy, like a plumber, I can do things, but I don't necessarily like doing them. And I love I love music, but I'm not a musician per se.
Gotcha.
I'm not. I never had that. I had that on the job training,
Right.
which was more like a fiddle player found out that I could play guitar. He lived across the field from me in the country, and so then we'd have the party at my house, and I'd play guitar, back him up, and I was good enough that he kept me. He taught me. He taught me.
Wow.
And I was 9 years old. And they used to give me a beer. Hey, give the kid a beer. And it's Canadian beer, man. That shit'll make you an alcoholic overnight, So I never drank. I never drank anything, but I can do a lot of things, but I'm not none of them. I'm not a movie director, really. I've directed movies. I'm not really an actor. I can act. There's a lot of I don't know what I am really.
I know what you mean. But you have a tool. You have a tool belt, and you've got a lot of things that you're kind of good at, but you keep it all on that belt, man. You pull it out when you need to.
I wish, but it's not really my belt. I borrowed it. I'm serious.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
great.
Same as writing.
Yeah.
Like, I was in after I got out of jail. I was in Aspen. We're doing the comedy thing. There's and I get together. Oh, I got to tell you that one.
Please.
That was another thing. Cheech had been an actor. All during the time I was in jail and that, and before that, and Don Johnson, he was, a cop.
Right.
And so now they want to honor us in Aspen. And by the way, that's the way to get their free formats. We're going to honor you. We want to honor you. Yeah, you're going to go on. Everybody else has gone on.
Right.
And we want you to do most of your act, but we're going to honor you. We're not going to pay you, but we're going to honor you.
Yeah.
This thing, they did that to me at Skirball. There's a Jewish a little place in LA here called Skirball, the Skirball Center. And they're going to honor me, honor Tommy Chong. Man, what I do when they honor me, I go into my spiritual rap.
Oh,
that's enough to drive a fucking club owner up the wall, man. Because it's not a setup. You're really giving some spiritual advice that club owners don't ever want to hear from anybody, especially people. But when they honor me at the Skirball, man, I went on such a rant that my wife, Shelby, was standing up giving me the.
Oh my God!
She's sitting there, she's standing there going, "Okay." Oh, man.
Amazing.
But I had one old Jewish guy come up to me to the show. He says, "Is that talk you give? Is that tape somewhere? Can I buy that?" I got him. But yeah,
amazing.
No, there's a lot of things I can do, but more than anything, the fiddle player taught me. He taught me things. He said, keep it simple, and then he says, give people what they want. That was it. That was it.
Yeah, good advice. Do you still talk to that guy?
Oh, he died a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, then no, I would say no.
No, Oh no, I knew him when, like I say, 8, 9.
When you were younger?
Eight,
Wow.
9. Yeah, I was a kid. He's one of those guys who could do everything. Build his own
Yeah.
house. He built his own house. Yeah, that's how I met him. I'd roller skate on the first floor, before they built the wall, and then
Right.
I was kind of a babysitter too. I was a kid. When I grew up, I never owned anything. I never
Yeah.
owned anything. Like I never had a new bike in my life.
Right. That must be why, like you said earlier, you have no attachment to anything.
Totally.
Yeah. It's freeing in a way.
And the guitar I got is the guitar that my mother, when she was pregnant with me, or it was like a cheap Sears guitar, and had a little hula girl on it.
Wow.
And that's a guitar I played at all the parties, and it's a guitar.
Wow.
One of our viewers, James Oakes, asked, "What is your spiritual practice?"
My spiritual what?
Wanted to know what your spiritual practice was.
It's metaphysics more than anything. This is the guy that I've been
Emmett
reading
Fox?
lately. Emmett Fox.
Wow.
If you're aware of him, man, I mean, he's Jewish, I guess, and he's he's got a degrees up to yin yang for theology, but he's the only guy. Well, there's another guy, Joel Goldsmith, that I also got turned on to. Oh, I tell you, let me tell you about Joel Goldsmith, man.
Please.
Freaky. I'm in New York. But all my life I've been kind of looking. When you grow up poor, like I did, you don't know you're poor. You just know what you got and what you don't have.
Yeah.
And you got no memories of anything. So that's what you have is what you have. And so the only thing poor people have, and that goes back to the black. That's the only thing they were allowed to do was worship.
Right.
And church was everything. Church was your entertainment. Church was your nightclub. Church was your sanctuary. Church was everything. Your entertainment. And that was with me. It wasn't a black church, but it was a church in a poor area. And so it went to Sunday school, which I did, and I loved it. I love Sunday school. I love the stories, especially when they tell you, God is everywhere. And I remember walking outside, going across the field, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, God's everywhere. Where are you, God?" Kind of looking around. I'd go jump up and say, "Hey, I'm God. How are you?" And so when I said, "Where are you, God?" literally, something put my head under. My head went up, and I looked up at the heavens. And in Canada at night, the Milky Way is so low you can touch it. There you could see the glories of heaven up there, and it didn't resonate with me for years later. But the other thing, went to Bible camp. That was the trip, man, because I did not know till just lately, a few years ago, that I'm part Native.
Oh, wow.
And I'm 8%. That meant my mother was quarter, and her mother was half. And her mother was born on a native reservation on the coast border of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, northern Saskatchewan.
How'd you find out?
Well, my mother would tell me these stories about my mother being born on a reservation and all that. And then we did the DNA. And the DNA,
the 23andMe.
Yeah, the DNA showed me that I was my half black daughter. It was the one. So I found out that I'm Native.
Wow.
And it makes so much sense. But I'm here on a mission. And it's, I guess it's I hesitate to say it's not a religion.
Right.
Because to me, religion is like what people do in the physical world to make a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great description.
Yeah, but the spiritual, then I start getting turned on to it, because there's a thing, in the Bible, it says, "Ask and ye shall receive."
Mm-hmm.
And so I start asking questions. And the spiritual world started giving me answers. Like,
Wow.
for instance, I was again 8, 9 years old. I went to Bible camp.
Mm-hmm.
They were out in the field, barefoot, no shirt, drawers, and my brother and the car pulls up. And in those days, the car pulls up. It's like, wow, there's a car. Come here, let's all, everybody look at it. Yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
A neighbor that had a team of horses, and I used to hang with him because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We dig out little shallow, little basement cellars, they call them. But
Mm-hmm.
this car pulls up and full of young guys, and hey, you guys want to go to Bible camp?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, right away, yeah. And so we had to go home, get permission from our parents,
Right.
from my mom, and then we went. And then that's the first night I ever stayed that I remember, in a house with indoor plumbing, where they had it inside the building. And we slept in a bed, and then we got up, and the next morning we drove on a bus. It took forever to go to this little Bible camp. But the first thing they taught you, they divided everybody up into little what do you call them? Their individual and that,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and so the first thing they taught you that night was how to pray.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I learned how to pray. And wow.
That's incredible.
And
we have to start wrapping up soon because there's another show coming. But before we go, I got to ask you, who is your Mount Rushmore of weed smokers?
Weed smokers?
Yeah. Like on your Mount Rushmore.
Well, his name is Zabel Kazuski.
Zabel Kazuski? I'm going to
Really?
write that down.
Yeah.
I need to write this down.
Yeah, who's
Zabel Kazuski? Now, Zabel was a bodybuilder. He was Mr. Natural. That there was a song called Nature Boy, written by somebody, that Nat King Cole song.
Oh, okay.
There was a boy, a very strange and changed. Zabel was the guy that the guy wrote the song about.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Zabel Kazuski, bodybuilder. You'll see him when you Google him.
Mm-hmm.
He was a kind of natural bodybuilder that would win every body part, but he'd never win the overall champion because he was steroid free. He never did steroids. He's Mr. Natural.
Wow.
And he was a guy. He used to have bars at his house, and he got the bong. And these bodybuilders would load it up with an eighth into the bowl, and then they fire it up with a torch. And Zabel and all the bodybuilders would give big tokes until the thing would go down into the bowl and explode.
Oh my God.
And Arnold was there. Arnold, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Arnold was there. Franco was there. Dave Draper was there. I was Frank Zane. I was there one time.
Wow.
And when it came around to my time, I took a little toke.
Yeah.
It was kind of embarrassing. But Zabel Kazuski, check him out, man.
I will.
He was in the Second World War. He was part of a commando unit that went behind the Japanese lines. They would drop him off and then pick him up 6 months later. He was still alive. That was the kind of guy he was. And Zabel, he was on his way home after the war. Yeah, he dropped a bomb. And then his ship was turned around, and he went back to Tokyo, and he was part of the contingent that accepted the Japanese surrender. And so the Japanese officers would hand over their sword.
Holy shit.
And Zabel got a big trunk of swords, pearl handled, ivory, all these good swords.
Wow.
but he took it home. He's from New Jersey. He took it home,
Yeah.
and it stayed in his mother's in the closet or in the garage or somewhere. And finally, one day, the some guy said, "Hey, what do you she's cleaning out all the shit. What do you want to do
Yeah.
with that?" He said, "I don't know. Take it. It's got it." It was probably millions of dollars of antique.
Oh my
samurai
God.
swords, yeah. But Zabel, oh man, check him out.
I will.
He's my guy.
Yeah.
He was in Nice Dreams. I put him in Nice Dreams. He plays the guy that runs the gym. And
Oh, no way. Yeah. That's him?
Weed. He gives me weed. No, weed gives me T-shirts and
Oh my
supplements.
God. Okay. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. That's Zabel. That's my Mount Rushmore. That's my guy.
Wow. That's fantastic, dude. Well, seriously, if we didn't have another show, man, I'd keep you on forever. I could listen to your stories all day long, dude.
Yeah. That's one thing I remember. You know what it is about pot. You know, it affects the brain, and it affects my brain. But what you know what it did, instead of you do forget stuff that you don't need to remember.
Right. Only the important stuff stays.
Yeah. And whatever you need to remember, you just stop and say, "Okay, God, help me."
Yeah.
Boom. It'll come. It'll come to you.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I can't even tell you how much I enjoyed this. This is phenomenal, dude.
It's an honor to meet you 100%.
Yeah.
And I really do hope we have you back. I think it
we hope you come back
amazing.
on again. Your stories are incredible, dude.
Are we recording yet?
And now.
Where's the refresh button?
Dystopia tonight.